Good morning, fans of the new network. James Ernest here on Sarah's playlist. We have an excellent lineup today. We have Kris Keys, the vocalist for Engineered Society Project. And back on our show, we have Tim Moss. We are so excited.
How are you doing, James?
Doing great. Thank you for joining us again.
Oh, my pleasure.
So, Kris, what inspires your passion for music?
I think I was just thinking about it. I think my mother was a big inspiration. She wanted to be a country singer, and her mother wouldn't allow her to be. And I think by the time I came into the world, she had a lot of influence on what direction I came in. So she got me into tap dancing and singing, and I think part of her dream was sort of instilled in me in the short time I spent with her on Earth. I would say my mom, definitely. And then I would think once I became my own person, I think part of vocals, like vibrating, it's like it's like a vibration. I think the vibration of wanting to change my world that I'm surrounded by is one of my passions, with either my vocals or just the energy of singing and being in a band. That's one of my passions. I'll say my mom is sort of what instilled it in me. And then my own passion is change. I'm the number 5. That's like my own sort of numerology. I don't even know if it's correct on other people's numerology, but to me, the number 5 means change, and I like to change things. So that's usually for the better.
So is it fair to say she taught you to sing, or did you have like tutors, or how did you learn it?
What's interesting is that I remember being a ham when I was younger, very hammy. I remember, hey, Mr. Banjo, and not having very much technique. Like I was actually just watching this documentary on Debbie Reynolds, like an old like Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire, and like these amazing tap dancer singers. And I was more like a ham, or I was cute, or not really going for the technical tap dancing prowess. It was just more like I think a ham. And by the time I got in the band, I really had to take a lot of lessons. My first actual band was very big. It was the first rap rock band in the world. It was called Blind Justice. And the technical people that I was with were freaking really high level. Like they were stars at Berklee School of Music. They were jazz prodigies. They were very high musicians. And I started taking opera lessons, and I started taking a lot of training to catch up with their technical prowess.
Wow. So as opposed to a lot of bands, it sounds like Engineered Society Project has a lot of more of a technical background into their music.
Oh, definitely, man. These guys are really great. Being on stage with them and playing with them, they're great players, man. It's good because I've been in a band of mixed, levels of ability, and I consider these guys really top level, man. The drummer's really, really keeps it solid, doesn't get excited, doesn't like play out of the pocket, very high level. Everybody.
Awesome.
Well, and our star is our guitar player. He's a rock god, and he does it. He brings the noise.
Well, Tim, Kris is probably too humble to admit this, but a lot of people compare his singing to early Ozzy. Do you feel that's a fair comparison?
Well, it could be, but Kris is just a lot better, in my opinion, than Ozzy will ever be, because Kris has such a range, and he has such the ability to change his style to fit what we're doing. Not to take anything away from one of the greatest guys that ever sang in the business, but Kris is just an incredible vocalist, and his stage presence is incredible.
So, Kris, one of your first bands, Dive Bomber, because you've been in a wide variety of bands. Was that one of you, that was that your first, or were there other ones prior to Dive Bomber?
Oh, I've been in the very first band I was ever in was called Red Death. And that was a straight punk band. And when you talk about singing versus just being about something, I was in the punk scene, and that really wasn't about singing at all. That was about being in a scene. And so I've been in a plethora of bands. My first band was Red Death. The band Dive Bomber was a band I was in when I relocated to San Diego, California. And I actually still talk to the guitar player. I'm actually just talking to him now. I was actually just talking to him yesterday. He's getting me in touch with an old friend named John Gist, because he lives in Las Vegas, because Engineered Society Project wants to head out to Vegas.
Ooh.
So I'm set up some stuff for our band in Vegas. And Catfish Comstock, who was the guitar player for Dive Bomber, is now in a band called Cyborg Assassins. And we'll be doing some stuff with them.
Oh, we just got some insight. That's awesome. Now, of course, a lot of people, when they hear your name, but besides your new, your current band, Engineered Society Project, they associate you with Gargantuous Soul. Is that fair to say?
I think that national accolades are the things that keep your your history alive. And I think I and Christian Lawrence, who was the drummer, aka Opus of Gargantua Soul, really had a really good run. And I think we did a lot of great things together. So being associated with that, really, more than Gargantua Soul, it associates me with Mindsnap Music, with the label that actually Engineered Society Project is on, Combat Records. So the association of Gargantua Soul really relates me to Opus, even though the other guys, Jay Bozzi, Tom Hetzel, Mark Amendola, Brendan Duff, are all brothers to me. I mean, me and Opus really had like a 10-year sort of we finished each other's sentences when we were around. When we hung around so much, we started looking at each other. So when I hear Gargantua Soul, I think of Opus, man. And I think of like sort of our ambition still is very similar. Right now, Opus is about to head to play some shows with the Cro-Mags. And he just wrote a book called I'll Stop When I'm Dead. And it's sort of like me and him are from the same ilk. It's like right now, Engineered Society Project will be in the studio tomorrow. We're headed to Total Access Studios. Timmy, what's the producer's name?
Wynn Davis.
Wynn Davis. We have basically, I think me and Opus are of the same ilk, because we really surround ourselves with people. We start making a family out of what's going on. I think right now, Tim is very connected to Wynn Davis, and we're sort of like networking ourselves to make some great music for the world.
That is awesome. Yeah, I was going to say Opus is one of those ones that is just such a pleasure to work with, and he's been able to connect so many people together. I mean, he is just a unifier when it comes to music.
Most definitely.
So, Tim, what about, how did Engineered Society Project get started?
Well, Engineered Society Project was a concept that I had, and I, just started looking for players after I got back to the Middle East, and basically just started putting people together, and went through a few iterations, and then JoJo and I got together, and we went ahead and did a new record, the Digital Soldiers record. And then after that, because of the folks on the record, Ripper Owens and Vinny Appice, they had other commitments, which they were in great bands and they're phenomenal, talented people. We said, well, let's get some guys to go tour. And so we started looking, and we found Sean and we found Kris. We were looking all over the U.S. and we found these guys, and we were able to put them in the band, and it's been just a pleasure. I'll tell you, it's been really cool.
That is awesome. So, Kris, how did your experience in Gargantua Soul and Dive Bombers benefit you and help you to do great things with Engineered Society project?
I think you have to learn both from your successes and your failures. I've had some of both. And I think every time, you try to be in an organization or create a brand, you want to learn from your mistakes and you want to try to, take the things that you learned. And both those bands taught me a lot about, you know, right now we're setting up tours, we're setting up shows, we're in the studio tomorrow, we're at the Whiskey a Go Go on Saturday, and I mean, I go back to the Whiskey a Go Go with G Soul, so it's like, just yeah, like I said, what I would say if I took away from it is continue to do the things that worked, and then learn from the mistakes you make.
So it's tough to keep a band together. How are you able to do such a great job of being on the same page with Engineered Society project?
I completely agree with that statement you just made. It's literally very hard to keep a band together. I heard this saying that I thought was really funny. I heard it. I think if you took Buddha, Jesus, Krishna, are all like enlightened people and put them in the same room and you put them in a band circumstances, they would still have a tough time because literally a band is supposed to run like a car, but we're people, people have opinions, people are emotional, people are especially, people that are really good. So it is definitely always being aware, in my opinion, and what I would say to everybody is trying to be aware of that you're working with people and always nip in the bud little things because little things can become big things. I think about this is a very not very factual, but just sort of how I saw it. I turned on my TV one day and I saw David Lee Roth that he had to go back to work as an EMT.
Oh,
He was out of Van Halen and he wasn't playing in Van Halen anymore. And it was because two people couldn't get along. And I would just think in my head, I'd much rather be on stage than go do some job. So whatever you had to do to keep the band together is like what I would be talking about. And just being aware. I mean, you can get in. Sometimes little things can be big. Things are easy because then everybody pulls together as a team, and you can, because a band is like a team. We're like a football team. But then little things, you got to be aware of things you say. You got to be aware of, just aware of other people. Get to know your band. Get to know, what pisses people off or whatever. Just try to be as, like I was just talking about the feng shui of like the living situation. It's the same thing with a band. Be aware of, the energy and how it moves, and try to get everybody on the same page because that's really what the attractive thing is about a band. When you think of the Rolling Stones and you think about being on the cover of the Rolling Stone or reaching the peak of our business, the attractive thing is that these group of guys got together and agreed. How the hell did that freaking happen? It's like, dude, people don't agree on anything. So a person stands and goes, I don't agree with people about what pancake sauce I should have today. How can they agree on all these different things that it takes to be in a band? So that you can get together in a room and agree with three other guys is amazing to other people. And that's why it is amazing, because people usually don't agree on anything. So it's a focus. And when you see people that are focused, that are going, that are on a mission, that want to do something, that want to get on stage and talk to millions of people, you go, wow, those guys were able to do what a lot of people can't do.
so Tim, a lot of people, Kris, you mentioned energy was so important to a band. A lot of people feel that Kris is the energy of your band. Now, you have other folks that do contribute in such great ways, but that his enthusiasm, his passion, is that fair to say that he is extremely energetic and it kind of helps to fuel the band?
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, Kris is definitely the catalyst for this band. We have great players, JoJo, Sean. These guys are incredible players. But you know, like in a lot of bands, the front man has such a impact on the perception of the band, and that's why we put Kris in the band. Is we knew he would be a great front man, and we also knew he was a great singer. So it was a real easy decision. And you know, I just wanted to add what y'all were talking about in bands getting along. This band gets along exceptionally well. We don't always agree because we come from different backgrounds, but all of us are good friends. We get along. We care about each other. And you know, one of the things that people don't realize, this is called the music business, and it is a business, and it's not, you know, it's not like four buddies at home, you know, put a band together and they play and play, and so you know, after a few years, they finally start going somewhere. Uh, this band is very much a business that involves a lot of money and a lot of people that don't play in the band making decisions about the band. That's why they call it the music business, and we've been able to uh, hang together and you know navigate our way through the decision processes, and it's been really good. We're very fortunate that you know four of us get on stage and be the band, but there's 20 people that don't get on stage every night that have a big impact to what we do, and we're very thankful for them.
Oh gosh, yeah. That is great how you acknowledge just the overall effort that it takes, because a lot of times, people when they're listening to their album at home or they're at the concert, they just see the people on stage and think, oh, they're the band. But you're right, there are so much more that goes into it, and that is phenomenal that you acknowledge those other folks.
Yep.
So Tim had mentioned a couple really cool stories last time we spoke. Kris, do you have any stories that Sean has shared with you during his times at Cirque du Soleil?
I got to mention right off that I really consider Sean a great drummer. I think that I am dependent on the pace of the project, on specifically on stage, and Sean just keeps his cool, man. I've been in situations where, because really when a drummer doesn't, if he gets, it basically starts going faster, the singer looks like he's off. I've been in situations where people said, oh man, what happened? I'm like, dude, the song went, generals gathered in their masses, and the drummer was going, generals gathered in their masses. It didn't make the dad look off, it made me look off. So literally, props to this kid, with this experience and his ability to generals gathered in their masses. Basically, then I get to shine and he gets to shine. If it's me that looks off if the drummer's not on. So Sean Salinas, Cirque du Soleil, fantastic preparation and fantastic guy that comes in and makes us look good.
Definitely. But I mean, did he ever share any cool stories about,
No.
No?
He told me a little bit about his other bands. He's been in some other bands that were doing some big things, and I actually couldn't tell you even what the name of those bands are, but we were just very we've been through similar things. We've been trying to do this, in our life, and just the struggles of really trying to do something really great. He actually didn't speak to me about Cirque du Soleil. He told me about bands, because I was in the first rap rock band in the world called Blind Justice. He did some pretty cutting edge stuff too in his time with bands, and that's really what me and him related on. He didn't ever tell me any stories of Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah, I can just imagine. I mean, because the music industry is crazy, the circus industry is crazy. So I was like, oh, the combination of those two. Same with we had Union Underground the other day on, and of course they did the theme song for Monday Night Raw at one point. So they were a combination of the music industry and the wrestling industry, and it doesn't get much crazier than those two industries. So
I have a story about the WWE. So in Blind Justice, I actually got to do a song for the WWE. I went to their place in Stanford.
yeah,
I made a lot of money, and they didn't use my song. And there's one producer who makes all the music for WWE. It's one guy in one studio in the Stanford building, and he wanted me to scream. And at the time, I actually tell you the truth, I might do it now, but at the time I was very much into opera. I was on the road all the time with Gargantua Soul, so I really didn't want to, I didn't want to scream for some reason. I don't remember, but looking back in retrospect, the guy was paying me so much money, I probably should have screamed, man. I probably should have done some, it was a song for a wrestler named Shawn Michaels. And
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you definitely should have.
obviously they use it, and I basically just wanted to sing. And it's funny, in retrospect, as they're talking about the documentary for Gargantua Soul, and literally, if I'm in a documentary about what I've done, there's like 100 concerts on YouTube about Gargantua Soul. I'm actually gonna have to go back and watch, because there's a lot of things that I forget. I've been involved in so many different things that, thinking about what you were like back then and what I'm like now, I mean, literally, I think you change as you get older. I'm a different person right now. Engineered Society Project is very much Engineered Society Project. It's JoJo Brown on guitar, it's Sean Salinas on drums, and it's Timothy Moss on bass. And we have our democratic system. We have a system of a way we work with each other. We have a chemistry. We have what we have. And I'm living in today. I'm living with these guys. We're just about to be in the studio tomorrow. And, I'm thinking about the 4 songs that we're writing. I think about my songs day and night. I dream about my songs with these guys. So literally, I'm just really in the present moment. And a lot of times when I hear things about the past, it almost is like, wow, did I really do that? Or did that even really happen? Because right now, I'm in an Engineered Society Project. I'm about to get together with my brotherhood, and it's a brotherhood to me, dude. And a lot of, I'll talk about it. I'll be open about it. These guys are like brothers to me. But I think that happens I know it must happen for other people, but I never really had a family. I've been in a bunch of foster homes and detention centers and a bunch of that kind of stuff. So a lot of times a band becomes my surrogate family, and maybe the band doesn't even realize that I'm like that, but basically my band becomes my brotherhood.
That is awesome. Now, of course, both, you work together in the unity and, like you said, the brotherhood when it comes to the music. But I can imagine there are different ways that both of you connect with the audience. Tim, how do you connect with the audience?
Well, for me, the connection comes from the music directly. It's the total picture. That's what I look at, and I'm a part of that, and every facet of what the band does. And so that's the way we connect. The obvious things is I want to look and I want to see the people's reaction to what we're playing, what we're singing. I want to make eye contact with those people. That's how you connect with people, is that when they understand that you're looking at them and you're waiting to see their response.
How about you, Kris? What's your way of connecting with the audience?
I want to take them someplace. I basically am there as this is something else I was thinking about. I take a mosh pit. Basically, a mosh pit is going in a circle. It's people going in a circle. Back to like when I first started this, I've always thought about, I was from the original New York hardcore scene where slam dancing was first conceived, and literally, I've been a part of hard, heavy music, and I've always thought of taking it someplace. Not just people going in a circle, but transcending, like, taking that circle and almost opening a vortex. And I called it Transcendicore, and literally taking the energy that's here, but bringing it up, one of our songs on our EP, My TV. Is it Fly on the Wall, Tim? We have the power. Okay, that's the chorus. It's we have the power, you know, and a lot of times when good things come through me, I always question myself because I definitely swear a lot, and I come from a negative place. I come from ultra violence. I come from sort of F this place. One of my songs when I was younger was F this place, F this town, F this school, I'm going to burn it down. And that's sort of where I come from. So now fast forward to my life now, and I'm up on stage and I'm going, we have the power, we have the power. And sometimes I step back from it and I go, wow, you know, it's something that's either being given to me, some kind of positive thing. I'm a meditator. I meditate a lot. And I think I open myself up just to be positive. And it's not on purpose, because I think my nature would be to go, F this place, F this town, F this school, I'm going to burn it down. And that's just not what I'm about anymore. And I think it's a blessing, or I think it's something that comes with just desiring that, because I think I was sort of chasing my tail. I think that I was sort of going in a circle when I was saying F this place, F this town, because that negative, you know, that sort of negative context about existence, I think was destroying me. And I think a positive energy has come into my life and taken me and allows me to say, we have the power. And it's not just that I have the power. And it comes back to what I was trying to say in Garantus Soul, is that we all are one big soul. We have the power. And when you say we have the power, that's the end of the war overseas right now. When you say we have the power, that's the end of racism. When you say we have the power, you know, this whole thing about all the capital letter, you know, T, B, G, all the different people that are saying we're different, that ends. I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care what the color of your skin is. I don't care what country you live in. We're in this together. And a big way you notice that is that when someone's drunk on the highway, he's going to kill everybody. He's so upset. He's in his car. He just drank a fifth of Jack Daniels. And basically now he's in a killing machine. But he's in our society. We're all in it together. So basically being aware that it's we have the power. We are here together. We are here with each other. And even saying this now, this is what I'm about. This is sort of what my life has turned into. This is what Engineered Society Project has turned into. And that's another thing. When I first met Tim, we're heading in the studio right now. Tim has a song called Deception. He's brought to the table. And really, Tim is sort of on the same mind wave that I'm on. It's like there's a positive thing happening through him. And trust me, we are just dudes behind the scene. We're not like, you know, and the positive thing that comes through me and comes through my band and comes through the individuals of our band, I think is just something that's really a blessing, or just some just a great energy, even like beyond what I can really comprehend.
So it sounds like that your energy has changed over the years, and that having strong bandmates, strong relationships with them has changed your negative energy, like you were saying about burn things down, to now more unify and build things up.
You said the right phrase, burn things down. So fire, saying burn things down. Back in the day, you know, take me as a 14-year-old kid, you know, because I'd been abused, because I'd been to detention, all these things that were abusive to me, because I'd been abused, I basically wanted everything to burn down. We have a song called The Prophets of the Fire, and I've been known as the prophet of the fire. And the fire that I bring now to the world is blue fire. Blue fire is knowledge. It's learning about yourself. It's learning about what this life is about, learning about who you are. So really, blue fire is the destroyer of ignorance, and it's not just mindlessly taking orange, yellow, and red fire and destroying things. It's more about burning the ignorance that is in our world. And so that's the concept that's changed. I think I still have a punk attitude. I think I still come from a punk place, and the punk place I come mentality has changed. Basically wanting to be in a world that changes for the better and burning the ignorance, and not being hokey about it. Like our new song, The Prophets of the Fire, is in your face, and it's like, burn it down, man. We don't want to live in a world of ignorance. We don't want to live in a world where people are destroying each other and then ultimately destroying us all.
Last time we spoke, Tim enlightened me on the song Fade Away and just the heart-wrenching story behind that. It's great that you're able to shine the light on things, situations like that, and to educate folks.
Well, Fade Away was a song I wrote for my father-in-law, who was a research scientist at MD Anderson. I had told you about that. And it's like, I don't know. I think that I never was sure what I was going to do with it. So, still not. But it's something that we've done. There's been a lot of input from different folks of what we need to do with it. I wouldn't say that it's a typical Engineered Society song.
Yeah.
But it had personal meaning to me and a few other people. So the jury's still out what we're going to do with that one.
Yeah, it's definitely a great song. It's very deep, and you can hear just the intensity and how much he meant to you in the song.
Yeah.
A more lighter song, on the other hand, would be your Deutschland song, Kris.
Deutschland. We actually last year we toured Europe with a gentleman named Lord Bishop, and as we were headed for Europe, we were all just excited about what it was going to be like to go and tour. So Deutschland was just a celebration of wanting to speak to people overseas, wanting to do the same thing we're doing here. And right now, and actually there's a documentary on our little trip overseas, and right now we're in the middle of working with a fellow named Jeff Jones, and we're going to document what's happening now with us in the USA. And we're playing the Whiskey A Go-Go this Saturday, and we're going to film it. We're also going to film some stuff in the studio of what we're doing, and ultimately we're going to turn it into a documentary. And really, it's inspired by Europe. It's inspired by, in the USA, when you talk about Europe, they're like, wow, that's really cool, you were over there. But when you're in Europe and then you go Whiskey A Go-Go, that relates like classic, the beginning of rock and roll. Motley Crue lived right across the street. So literally it's an inspirational thing for us as an international band, because we'll probably be overseas, many times. And so basically we want to document what it's like in the US for people that are overseas.
That is awesome. Well, gentlemen, it has been a pleasure having you both on. Tim, thank you for coming back on. Kris,
Sorry, having a little technical difficulty finding my link.
no worries. It's all good. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a pleasure having you guys on today. Before we let you go, where on social media, where on the web, where can we find out more about you guys?
Our main spot is www.engineeredsocietyproject.com. You can contact us on Facebook by typing in Engineered Society Project Street Team. That's our group page. We also have a page on Facebook. We have a presence on all social media. We have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have Spotify, and we have a very original name, Engineered Society Project. So if you type in Engineered Society Project, we will come up. Definitely contact us. Like I said, we're recording new music right now. We're setting up gigs for the whole year. And this Saturday, we're playing the Whiskey A Go-Go, and we're in the studio tomorrow, Total Access Studios. please, everybody, hit us up, man. We want to talk to you. We want to see what's up, and we'll be in a town near you soon.
That's awesome. Thank you for joining us.